What's up, guys? We have a bonus episode this week. Johnny has a couple people joining us in to talk about what they learned and what they are grateful for this year and what they're looking forward to in the coming 2021. Obviously, with COVID and post-COVID and all of that, and how they're coping with it and some of the changes that they're going to make.
Stay tuned. We get Spencer Lewis, CJ from
CNC Electric,
and good old Jason from Artisan Signature Homes.
and he took a nap for it, so stick around. Dude, you're one of the most listened to episodes we've had.
Something's wrong with people.
I think a lot of people related, man. It's funny, like everyone like I feel like yours gets shared constantly still. And every time I talk to Doug, who pulls the numbers, he's like, "Yo, hey, Spencer's just crushing it over here."
Yeah,
So,
that's kind of crazy.
Kudos to you, man.
It's a small business. I think it is something that relates to a lot of guys. It's attainable. So, I don't know.
How has this year been for you?
I tell you what, at the beginning of the year going back in March, I just mentally just gave up. I felt like I needed to just to say, you know what, this is going to be a lost year, and I just need to accept it. But somehow construction just kept plugging along, and it was a little bit better year than last year even, which was a great year. So I have absolutely nothing to complain about. Somehow it still ended up turning out. I don't know how, but yeah.
Looking back in March, when you say you had to prepare yourself to give up mentally, what were you telling yourself? Like that you financially weren't going to be?
Yeah, thinking of the numbers. I mean, at that time, I had a spell, I don't know what it was, in February where I did stay home for maybe a couple weeks or so, where we just had no idea what COVID was going to look like. I mean, you say pandemic, you just have no idea what that even means at that point. So I felt like, I'm a goal-oriented person. So I felt like for my own peace and happiness, I just had to kind of accept whatever was going to be. I think that was the right thing to do, but obviously try to make the best of it. And that's what, I did, is jobs kind of just kept plugging along. There was crazy challenges with getting materials, couldn't get doors because Michigan got shut down for 6 weeks, and all of our doors in this region come from Michigan. So, I mean, I was trimming houses where they would give me 130 door, 128 door, 126, 24, and I would have to move the slab from one opening to the next.
Wow.
Just to get houses trimmed. It was crazy for a while, for sure. But yeah, somehow it all worked out.
It's funny, like you think about if you showed up on a job back in 2019 and they said, "Hey, you got 126, 28, 30 door, just move them around."
You just walk.
You'd be like, "What?"
You're like, peace out, dude.
And it's funny. I was driving down the highway today and I saw a billboard, and it was for Dunkin's, and for Dunkin' Donuts, and it was like Dunkin' to your doorstep. And I remember looking at it and being like, man, if someone told me that they would deliver Dunkin' Donuts to my doorstep 18 months ago, I would have been like, no freaking way. Like, it just wouldn't. It's not going to happen. And it's just the fact that these like small little things, like what you dealt with on that job, are okay and normal. I wonder what it will do long term. Like, will it make people more grateful, or is it just going to be, once things go back to non-pandemic, that everyone's going to expect the world?
Oh, it was like 9/11. Everyone came together.
Yeah.
And we all wish that stayed the way it was, and then we couldn't be any more divided right now.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking directly to our industry, you look at us in construction versus the restaurants, who absolutely got obliterated.
crushed.
We have been so fortunate. And I guess I'm naturally pretty cautious in business, but I think it's a real opportunity for us in the trades and as trade business owners to really take a step back and look at our businesses. I think we got lucky and fortunate to some degree. We were at the end of the longest bull run market-wise in history, and there's absolutely zero reason that we should be charging forward like this. So I think we kind of got a little bit of a second chance to evaluate our businesses without getting crushed. But I mean, who knows what this year's. I did my podcast with you guys, I think in February, which was right before all of this happened. So who knows what another year can bring. But I think the important thing is to maintain good fundamentals in our businesses and what we're doing, because that was a bad feeling last spring, I think, for everybody.
Yeah.
And I've watched builders getting killed on lumber prices. A lot of years, if the workload would have been tanking at the same time, they would have been getting hit with those lumber prices. I mean, it would have put guys under. But thankfully, you could make up for it just by working harder, taking on more houses, and they were there. So I think it was an opportunity for us to to grow and kind of just survey the landscape a little bit.
It took us. I always reference I grew up balancing my checkbook, and I feel like everyone's been riding this wave for so long that no one's balanced the checkbook. They just know money's coming in, so like there's that whole thing that there's so much money coming in that I don't spend as much that's going out, so I don't need to balance my checkbook. I think that opportunity of March was like, hey, maybe I should look at this a little deeper. Mm-hmm. Beyond my bookkeeper giving me a thumbs up, beyond certain things. And if you didn't take advantage of that, I think part of this little bonus episode is, being grateful for what, turned out of 2020, but also thinking about what should I have for a takeaway and what am I, looking forward towards 2021, I think that's it. It's digging a little deeper into your business, not taking it for granted.
Well, a lot of us, I've been in business 8 years now, didn't see 2008, 2009. So those lessons they're kind of there, but they're not really there. So I see it, I see it on Instagram, and sometimes I wonder, I see money being spent, growing businesses and stuff. And it's like, it makes me cringe a little bit, because we're overdue. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. But we're definitely historically in the 10th or 11th hour where we should be looking to be cautious in our businesses for sure.
The hourglass is leaking.
Yeah. I was just looking at something. The bull market in the 90s wasn't as long as this bull market, but percentage wise, it was like a 400% gain. And this market has been like a 320% gain. So technically, I mean, it could have room to run. Who knows, though?
Who thought that the stock market would be at 30,000 points?
I remember whenever I thought buying the stock market at 8,000, the Dow at 8,000 was crazy. I remember having that conversation with friends back in whenever it was. I mean, it's nuts.
It's crazy. I have the longer this goes on, the less I have a grasp of reality. I just don't get it. Like I just don't. I've been warning Nick for as long as I've known him, and it's just like at some point he's gonna be like, "Dude, just shut it." Like, what? We just went through a pandemic. Like, what's gonna happen that's gonna hurt me? Come on, come on. And I'm like, all right, at some point I'm turning and I'm like, you know what, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Being a sub, your whole livelihood is only wrapped up in a couple builders. Mm-hmm. So you knock out one builder and all of a sudden you could have 70% of your income that just went out the door. And I've always had that, kind of that feeling in your gut whenever you don't know if you're going to get called for that next job. So I think it's different for me than a lot of people, where you've got, everyone as a potential client, but it's scary as a sub, looking out forward. It makes me wonder for sure. I'm not really looking forward to my first bear market.
Are you evaluating new potential builders? Like, are you testing the waters at all, or are you just gonna keeping all your eggs in one basket? Oh, 4 or 5 baskets.
I'll tell you what, that is the number one struggle of my business. There is no consistency in any of my builders. I'm always just hopping around, it feels like. I'm definitely loyal to certain builders, but their workload has never been the same year to year. So, I mean, it goes from 100% to 50% to 25 to who knows what. And I'm just trying to grab what I can. And, but that goes back to that whole having strong business fundamentals thing, because man, if I was like in year 2 of my business, there's no way I could do what I'm doing, because there's so little certainty. You're just always flying by the seat of your pants, I feel like.
It's funny you mentioned the word loyalty. I find there's less and less of it in this industry.
Yeah.
So what are your judgment points to keep loyalty with a builder? Is it like paying on time, having the site organized, good schedule? What's the...
One of the sayings I always, kind of a mantra I try to live by, is dance with who brought you. You got to remember who you started with, who you grew with. The relationships do matter. So I'm not one to just bail on anybody. So that's first thing. You got to dance with who brought you. Remember who got you where you're at. And I've got a couple guys who we've grown our businesses together. They weren't necessarily established, but we were both building our names together, so that's a good thing. But yeah, who treats you good, who respects what you do, who appreciates what you do, who pays you on time, who's going to stand up for you whenever something goes wrong, all those things. So, but it's
just funny. I had a client say to me the other day, I doesn't like my white glove service I have with my subs.
Oh yeah. What does that even mean?
Meaning that I'm too, like, my clients get white glove, meaning they can't really do any wrong. Like, oh, this cabinet's not as white as I thought it was going to be. All right. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm also not going to tell them my subs are wrong. So I tell my clients this. Mm-hmm. And they think it's like a lot of people nowadays that I talk to think that subs, we always talk about the skills trades gap, but there's an abundance of people. When you go to Home Depot, there's definitely a shitload of pickup trucks and painters and everyone else. So to the untrained eye, there's a lot of people in our industry, and that we can substitute a lot of these people at any given moment to create the same thing that they see online or buy or product or whatever. And when you push back on that, I got, an email saying, I don't like your white glove service with your subs, meaning they're subs. They're below everyone else. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I said this to him in the kitchen when he made the comment, and I was just like, dude, I am nothing without my subs.
Yeah.
I am a cell phone. He goes, what do you mean? I go, my tool belt is my cell phone. Like, that's what it's come down to. And yeah, I have these guys back because no matter what happens, like, there's an issue with a kitchen paint job, it's exactly what it's supposed to be, the color. And he's like, well, it's this, it should be this. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to argue with you, and I'm not going to also tell my painter to eat it. Like, there's not enough margin in that paint job for him to do it again. Mm-hmm. And I was taught by one of my worst employers ever that subs will get it one way or another. If they give you a credit on this one, they're gonna pull it from the next 3 jobs.
Yeah.
So just be honest and make it happen for them then and there, because I'd rather have that the same way for me. But it's funny how people look at our business in a different way than what we see.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that too, because so many people think sub means like subordinate, like
Yeah,
as in like you're
less.
just dumb or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. But, and like you said, subs do remember. If you get hosed by a builder, yeah, they'll remember that and probably try and get it back down the road, but they'll also remember the other way around. I mean, I remember especially earlier on when I first started subbing, maybe the details weren't super clear and I did something a certain way and the homeowner was and it was one of those situations where this might have to get ripped out, and it was a gray area, but the builder said, I'll handle it, and use those skills to make it so that it didn't have to get ripped out. You know what I mean? By oh, it looks fantastic.
Massaging the situation.
Builders are excellent at massaging the situation. I am not. So I depend on that, and I appreciate that, not getting thrown under the bus every time one little thing goes wrong, so yeah, no, the loyalty is just huge, and there's not many good builders out there. So if you got it, you can really pull in some great subs, I feel like, for sure.
I mean, I've tried to make, we don't say no to a lot of design ideas and a lot of concepts, no matter how far-fetched they are, because it's not just about, gaining experience. It's about finding these artisans that are little boutiques that are hidden. It's funny, we're on social media and all that, but in reality, like we stopped. Like I wanted to get shirts made when we first started Vintage. Like Nick was giving out shirts left and right. You'd see him everywhere. We'd go to shows and be like, "There's shirts everywhere." And then I had this epiphany that it's like, you know what? I love the fact that the only people that get my shirts are some of the guys that work on our sites and our clients and their kids. So when someone sees that shirt, if it's a kid, we built their house. Mm-hmm. And it was something I so did this. I was like, I'm gonna get all these shirts, blah blah, and I'm gonna put this time into mailing them all out. I don't know how Nick did it and had them like bow tied and all this other crap.
That was all my wife.
But that was amazing.
We stopped doing it, by the way.
But branding, it was on point, and it was something about that of just being that boutique. And now I feel like that's part of this whole challenge and this art is to find that. All right, who's gonna make me this? How do I create this? Like right now, I'm on this kick where I want to make these hand-turned newel posts that aren't out of a catalog, because I feel like I want to make sure that everything we do is nothing's out of a catalog, and I don't know why it is, but it's like, all right, what am I getting right now? It's out of a catalog, and it's like newel posts. All right, let me find this. So we're working on that because I want to make my own little line of vintage newels and ballasts that's kind of our signature. Someone walks in and goes, oh, who built this? Like almost stops them in their tracks beyond, architecture and all that stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I feel like as a trim sub, it's my job to whine about everything.
The plaster. What the hell is this shit?
If a builder's like telling me he wants some custom newel posts, I'm like in my head, I got neurons blowing up. I don't know.
No, but like my goal is that it's already there.
Yeah.
For you, Spence, I've got the newels there. I've got all the fittings there. I got everything there. So when you get there, it's like, all right, now, dude, this is your staircase. Here's all the pieces. Make this a piece of art. Please, just go to town. I've made all that other bullshit easy for you. Now you just gotta spend the hours in this, not going, how much this fitting does? It's like what? How's this gonna? Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to think that out for him.
That is huge too. If I can like my dream is just to show up on a job site. There's like 6 electrical outlets. there's trim,
lights,
and I have a flooring schedule. No, I don't even expect lights. Let's not go that far. But just to be able to walk into a job site and just do the job. That's all I want. It's huge.
That's what I tell all my guys.
That way.
Even my young guys, it's like you have to be thinking out stuff for them so that way they make more money.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
exactly.
that's the way I look at loyalty, is that you can pay people, you can do whatever, but this industry is so up and down right now that like you might write a quote that even though it's cost plus, let's put plaster in percentage in an example, is that I might have that thing priced out at 80 cents a square foot. The market goes kind of crazy. Diego can get a $1.30 a square foot for plaster. Why would he be loyal to me over this price and this project for that? Like, you get me? Like, that's this thing. It's like, all right, so how do I, if he knows the site's going to be dialed in, nailers everywhere, no issues, blah, blah, guess what? He'll still come to my site first.
Absolutely.
Because,
every time.
Yeah, so but without that, then there's absolutely zero value in what I'm offering.
Yeah. My whole business is built around maximum, I call it maximum billable hours, meaning maximum hours that I can work in a day. I'm not making money on any materials, you know. It's just working hourly. But the beauty of being a trim sub is working for builders, they're handling all that front end work.
They should be.
So I don't have to run and talk to clients. I don't have to do all that stuff. I can just show up and go to town, and you can make good money doing that. And that's why, you know, you talk about this price versus that price being so much more. It's still better to work for the builder who's gonna keep feeding you work, you know, treat you right, and have a decently organized job site with decently organized specs. And you can make good money doing that. So yeah, it makes sense.
I missed your podcast the first time.
I know.
I'm bummed.
I forgot about that.
I feel like I'm as passionate about like the being a subcontractor as you are about being a builder. So I think we could have a lot of long conversations about that dynamic.
Then we'll have to have you back on.
Back on.
I think I'm
2.
scheduled for February 9th or something.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
We'll see you in February.
Done.
Yeah.
Well, Spencer, thanks for hopping on tonight. Wish you happy holiday and a
And a
I
great
was gonna
New
say
Year.
Merry New Year, but
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Well, you guys killed it this year on the podcast. It was a good year for podcasts. So good job.
Appreciate that, man.
Trying, man.
Yep.
You were part of it.
Yep.
Huge.
All right.
We'll see you in
ya.
February.
See you, brother. Isn't asparagus kind of crazy that I'll probably go pee right now and already smell it? Isn't that a crazy thing?
Super crazy.
How is it not? You don't agree with that?
I agree with that, John.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, CJ?
Just eating some asparagus.
John's in the bathroom eating asparagus to see if his pee smells immediately.
In his back, he's in his new man cave, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot of accomplishments in here from 2021. It's from 2020.
How's the lighting look?
I painted a bulb. That's it. And I have my tower, my bazooka going.
That's exactly how my master bedroom looks. For 2 years, we have a temporary light bulb on one of the temp rubber sockets. Actually, I lie. It's been a month since we had a fixture. My wife finally found one. I'm like,
it was her fault.
Yeah.
It was her fault. I said, you just got to fix it now, honey.
Wait.
And the cover plates have been on back order for a couple years too. So
back order.
It's really bad, dude. How are you guys?
We're doing well, man. How are you?
Good. Wrapping up the year or what?
Yeah.
You're on vacation, right?
Yeah.
Nick is. So is Ty. And
I
then
like
a
that.
couple other people I talked to on IG about coming on tonight. Someone else was in Hawaii, and the other one's at a beach. And I'm like, as I get each response, I'm slowly dying inside.
I know, John. You should.
I
don't know why you don't take the week off.
Next year.
We definitely. I mean, I kind of did, but I gave the guys the option. I mean, we have PTO, like vacation time, and so I don't want to force them if they don't want to take their time now.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to, dude. I keep telling, and we weren't under any pressure to like hammer anything out before the end of the year, but I could definitely shut down from at least Christmas Eve to New Year's.
That's what we do. And it's not taken away from the PTO. It's actually on top of it.
That's what I was trying to figure out today. I sent, maybe you guys know him, Dave Haynes. He's a total he's a builder in this area, but we're doing our first job. Younger guy, super.
Is that the one you sent me today?
Yeah, he's building rad stuff. Like
I dug into his IG. Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool and he's super cool. So we actually met on IG.
Looks like he's 13 years old. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he's a young dude. I think he's the same age as me, but I think he just
baby faced.
Took better care of himself.
Wasn't in the electric
but
field.
He's a super cool guy, and he's doing he's way obsessed with like Reisinger style, like net zeros, all this super nerdy builder stuff.
What's his name?
Dave Haynes. It's Haynes _construction _Inc. He's building super cool stuff, and he's just way into everything. And it's like, finally, we're sifting through builders slowly and finding these. I think hopefully we'll have a pretty good working relationship. It's working so far so good on this one. It's a rad house. So
that's awesome.
He was telling me today, Nick totally shuts down. He's like, he pays his guy. I thought you did something, but I didn't know how you worked it. I was just trying. We were talking like
everyone accrues vacation time throughout the year.
Yeah, so it's like
hour.
PTA per hour. Okay, PTO.
And then we shut down from Christmas Eve till New Year's Day, and that's paid. And we also shut down. What's that?
5 or 6 working days, I think. Usually on average,
it works out. 1, 2, 7. It works out to like 7 working days. Yeah, and then we also shut down for 5 days around July 4th. Same thing.
Yeah, paid.
So it's like beginning of the year, middle of the year, paid, forced vacation. So everyone gets a chance.
I love it.
And they accrue on top of that. So many people take that time off anyway, or production's down, especially around Christmas.
Well, everything else is usually shut down, like a lot of suppliers.
So I'm just like, you know what, and like that's when my wife wants to do stuff, and people are traveling. I was just like, you know what, let's just go for it.
I like the recharge. I think the moral, like
the recharge.
Yeah. I think that's.
I'll be honest. I'm
morale.
I'm struggling to shut off. More so than I ever have.
What do you mean?
Oh, really? Like, do you think it was easier for you last year?
I do. I can't. I'm not a person that sits still. Like we went up to our cabin, and
you have projects to do out there at least, right?
But it's but it's even like that's still work, right? So I go up there and I walk in the house and I'm literally pacing around the house, and I walked outside. It was freezing out, and she's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "To chop wood."
Yeah, I gotta do something.
She's like, "What?" And I'm just like, "I'm just gonna go."
I didn't see that on IG. Did it happen?
Oh yeah, she posted it.
Oh, did she? I didn't see it.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm just outside. I don't have a splitter, so I'm just sitting there with an axe, fucking swinging the axe.
Boy.
Jay sent me a message. He was like, "Hey, you're swinging it wrong."
Did you put coveralls on, overalls?
Yeah. So he kept telling me, he was like, "Do this, do that," and I kept sending him videos back. He was like, "You got it." I'm like, "All right." I'm like 20 logs in. I think I'm tired. Good.
But you're so great.
I just like the reach. I mean, I know what you mean. I don't know. I've been a bit more content with taking time off lately. I don't know. I think this year rattled me. I got like 4 guys now and 2 vans. So I think that's been my biggest struggle this year is we completely quadrupled in size. It was just me and another guy pretty much.
Right.
For a long time. So
a question for you is, we kind of touched on this in the last podcast, but it didn't go where I wanted to. Probably because I phrased the question awful. So you get those guys and you get the truck. When is that going to reset where that's the norm for you? You get me? Like,
you mean when will I get used to it?
Yeah, like when you feel comfortable with it all. Like the payments, payroll, insurance, liability, comp, whatever it is. Like, when is a new employee or employees in a truck and that burden, when does it become the norm again?
We were pretty lucky this year. We've been busy, so I haven't really like freaked out that my payroll's over 20 grand in a month, or those weird things that like when you first start out you don't even imagine. You just like, if someone told you that, you'd be like, nah, that would stress me out. That hasn't really. My whole thing is it hasn't got normal. Mine's more of, we're busy, but like being able to balance it correctly, where like my biggest struggle, I think, in this year with having, so now I have 2 full crews, right? So I can put them all on one job, but I got 2 lead guys, 2 apprentices, 2 vans. So I don't like to send anyone to a job just solo. It's too hard to get things done, and it's good for the apprentices. So it's basically the apprentices bounce between, but sometimes it's all 4 of them on a job. So my thing is that I'm always blaming myself if I don't feel like we're all super efficient. Like if I don't have all the answers, or if I don't have, like, I don't have to lay out for them, but I'm still involved in the daily, or if I feel like I show up, I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. That's what I needed to change this year.
That's at 6 a.m. text. You wake up at 3.
I don't know. Yeah.
Then you send it at 6, so you're not an asshole?
Or like a schedule, like what a concept, instead of texting them at like 8 at night for the day. And I always say like, oh, next week, I'm going to get the schedule. And I do, but we're a subcontractor. We're at
you're at the mercy of us.
So like I could set something on schedule. I just looked at the calendar, and I have 2 pretty organized builders that we work for. And, usually when they send me a date, we're close, but we didn't even get close. Like they're a month behind, and I didn't even really, but that's how I don't even take the calendar seriously. I try to, but I don't know. So you know what I mean? I'm like desensitized to it, where I look at it and I laughed today because I hadn't even looked at it in like a week. And then I was like, oh, we did not even, and it wasn't us. They just didn't call. They're not ready for, they're not ready for us. So that's been I don't know. Do you think it'll ever get normal?
It got to a point where like when I had, Trevor and John, about, I don't know when it did, but if I look back, it was probably, 10 months to a year in is when, hey, another truck came on board. That didn't bother me as much, but having the burden of, you're right, the organization and is everyone happy? Is everyone organized?
Yeah.
Is there a lack? Or, this is my fear is I look at subs that I've used over and over again, and then they grow, or they've substituted people, and then that new crew comes on site, and you're like, who are these guys? And how does this work? Yeah. And this isn't what I signed up for, even though the pricing
those aren't the same.
Yeah. And it isn't the same energy. It's not the same execution. It's not the same vibe that's on the site. And I worry that, and this is why I take jabs at you. It's like, how do you fulfill that initial, I want to say for me, the boutique part of it where I'm small, you get me, and you're not just going to get pawned off. And I talked to 2 people today. One is a future client. Another one is somebody else that was like, they did a project and the builder tried to pawn me off, and the PM was just not the same energy, not the same vibe. And that's what worries me as you grow, is like, how do I make sure I keep that heart and soul in this company? And in that, we just got another guy started Monday, and it's like, that doesn't really bother me. Like, I was like, it's cool, but like, when am I comfortable with pulling away a little bit more?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be comfortable. That's, I don't know if that, maybe. I don't know if comfort. My thing, we had a big powwow with Dave, that builder I'm talking about today, and we were kind of talking about, because I need an employee handbook. Mine's just kind of, assumed, kind of just an honor system. I don't really have it in stone. For what I offer them, right?
But like, what parts of it makes you compelled to have that in writing?
Getting new guys. Like, I don't want to get much bigger, but so that things aren't assumed. So at least if it was in writing. But then I talked to
what things?
Chase, just like standards, right? Like what I offer them, right? So their benefit packages, my expectations, days that we have paid off, vacation, how do we accrue PTO? Like, it's just been always like 5 vacation days or X amount this. I have the holidays. I have them set in stone. They know those, but I don't have like it in writing where it's like new hire, new apprentice, right? This is what CNC Electric does and is. Here it is. I do, but it's not. And so when I was talking to Chase about it, he was saying that like when he did his last year or the year before, he's like, they told him, or guys he talked to, don't put something in there that you're not going to basically fire someone for, right? Like, don't just put a bunch of willing, like if you're right, you're going to drug test every couple of months or whatever. either drug test them or don't even write that in there, you know. And I feel like I've worked for a bunch of big corporate companies or larger shops, and they have those, and it's like after you work for them for a year, you laugh. It's like, oh, that's not true. You know, we take the trucks home, or we do, whatever it might be. So I think that then, and like I said, or like what's protocol on cell phones or phone calls on the job site. Or I'm lucky because we're small. I have 4 guys that I trust, and I would, they're family. But am I always going to have that? Like what if I get 6 guys, or what if I hire another guy and so the larger I get, the more I feel like I need to, it can't always be that way.
Yeah, I agree. That's where we were at. And I talked to Chase as well about it. And it's like, I was sick of answering the questions where it's like, hey, do we have this Monday off? And I'm like, I have no idea. Yeah. It's like now it's just all spelt out. Like, we did
it's on the calendar.
It's right there. It's like taking the opportunity. It's like, hey, does my vacation roll over? It's like everything's spelled out.
That's a good one. Does it roll over if I don't use it?
The more and more questions that came up. It's like, hey, can I wear shorts on the job site? Do I have like all of these things? I'm like, wow. Like, it just got to a point where I was like, all right, I just have to write all this down, so I stop answering it, because I was giving guys different answers.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you told me we did have that day off. I was like, you know what? Sure, let's take it off.
Yeah. And then I feel like I go both ways, where I never want to be. I don't want to ever be the mean guy. I worked for the mean guy.
Right.
And I also don't want to be like, when you're hiring, I want to get kids. We've talked about the keep craft alive, and like getting kids interested. So like I want to give an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old a crack at working in the trades. Mm-hmm. I also don't want to be like super easy guy, to work, because there's a lot of things that I look back on, and when I was an apprentice, made me a hard worker or appreciate, like you're not just one of the guys right away. And that's kind of like the stepping stones to becoming a tradesman. But then again, I don't want to be like Hayes, like I was, tossed up in an attic.
A little bit's healthy.
A little bit, but where do you, I feel like sometimes I'm just
like, you got to lock the porta john.
Yeah.
In it. I mean, that's a gimme.
Yeah.
But
and
dude,
so that's a struggle of mine. All the stuff that I want, like that I struggle with this year, is 100% me. Like, I'm super stoked on my guys, like beyond, it's hard to imagine that I'm responsible for 4 guys, and that's dinky compared to on almost all scales, but still looking back on it,
it's still solid, man. It's 4 families you're responsible for.
Yeah. And so that's exactly, I think about that. And then the same thing where I don't want to, should I be doing this, or should I not be doing that? What's the industry standard? Do I want to be the industry standard, or do I want to go above and beyond? I still want to get jobs, so I don't want to put myself out of business. Like all those things.
That's every day.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, I don't think I'll ever be comfortable. But I don't think any of us got into. I don't know. Comfortable would have been sticking
desk job.
Sticking with my or joint. Sticking with the company that was treating me good, or that would have been comfortable.
So what are you looking forward towards 2021?
Those things, improving myself. I feel like improving. I feel like we're finally in this groove where we're busy with cool projects. Not all. Like I think a couple of the guys that have come to work for me recently did it based off of like, oh yeah, I saw what you do on Instagram. So I don't want to falsely promise that every job of ours has, it's a glass, like the one in Sonoma right now. It's supposed to be, a glass farmhouse. It's the whole concept, super modern and cool and trick. And
I just love the outlets and the concrete.
Styled. Yeah, just all cool stuff. But, or we're going to do a wine cave with a bowling alley in it, and all just cool stuff. Not all of them are like that. We still do bathroom remodels. So I don't want to, raise a bunch of prima donna employees either. But that's we're in this groove right now, not to go on a tangent, but where I feel like I've got a few, I think, builders that we'll stick with, and I can start phasing out some of the other stuff that we don't necessarily want to do. But then I, again, don't want to get to, who knows where the I forget about the economy, who knows? We're going to be wiring luxury homes forever. Should I not, push off some of the other jobs, service work, or, being a subcontractor? What niche? Do I stay in that niche? Do I, that's the hard part is figuring out, how good's the good going to be until you look back and might regret going like, damn, I should have, paid attention to the service division a little bit more, because now it's crunch time and we're slow, and it'd be nice to have some service calls.
Yeah.
Or now a service call comes in and I'm like, I don't want to pull one of my guys off one of our big jobs.
Yeah.
I don't have a set. I don't have a service division. That's all he does. So
2021, baby.
There you go.
Third van service.
Yeah, so the goal would be, it's more like internal stuff. It's not, my guys are pumping out super quality work. We got good vibes on the jobs. We're working for rad builders that are building really cool stuff. Mine's internal stuff, being able to get change orders out quicker, or improve our office flow, billing set in stone, billing days, things like that. All just the business stuff that I kind of kept pushing to the side and was more worried about, the field stuff than the behind the scenes. Get logos on our vans now. I got to get some logos on our vans. I get harassed for that all the time. We've been rolling stealth forever, which I like.
Just do the roof. Just do the roof.
I want like the NSB roof, but CNC, just the hex on the roof.
There you go.
Like I got logos.
Just for the helicopters and the plane.
Yeah.
For the drones, bro.
For the drones.
Well, CJ, Happy New Year, man. And I'm sure we'll chat in 2021, and good luck with all these changes.
Yeah, you guys are up late. You should, what is this podcast hour? You guys did
we started at 6.
Show, a full episode before, and then just pick it up on different guys?
Yeah. We got I think, one more.
Yeah. Jason from Artisan.
Nice. All right.
Dude, thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, it was nice seeing you guys. Thank you so much.
Same. Wishing you the best for 2021.
Talk to you soon.
You too.
See you, dude. You hate the fact that I'm just pulling this together out of nowhere.
Huh?
Jason's iPhone.
Who hates it?
You do. I just
Me?
sprung this on you.
No, it's I'm just tired.
Oh,
tired
come
from
on,
vacation.
man.
I know, right?
Oh, come on, man.
Can't be tired. What's
I
up,
ain't
boys?
tired. What's going
What's
on,
up,
man?
handsome? Is that Seaside? Oh my gosh. Seriously?
I
That's what you are?
Got to get some new gear while I'm down here, you know?
That's like the
Where
first
are you?
development.
Down in 30A, the panhandle of Florida.
Nice.
Seaside's
Have
the
you been
original
down here
development.
yet?
No.
Yeah. And you've not been down, John?
Have you seen this face? It's pale white. I haven't seen the sun at a certain degree in a long time.
Once
Yeah,
this,
I got a little too much sun today.
once this baby comes, we're traveling. So until then,
This is our first travel.
lockdown.
Yeah. So what's up, boys? What's the good word?
Dude,
Tell
just
us,
trying to
man.
do a quick little recap with a few select people about, what was 2020 like, and what are you grateful for, and then what are you hoping for in 2021?
I got a lot.
Let's roll with it.
Dude, good to see you guys.
Dude, it's awesome to see you. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man, what a wild year. And it's not even over yet. Almost.
Close.
You've been
Seven more
killing
years.
it, though. You built like a castle. You got
You got
so
some
much.
awesome projects going on.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Man, we've been fortunate. When COVID hit, we were actually building, it was one of those weird things. We were building a new house for ourselves. And, it's one of those times that you wanted to be excited and sharing and being, showing off what you do. And it didn't feel right. So we kind of dialed back a little bit and just kind of stepped back and just on the down low, really focused on, we were fortunate to keep working, but we built our house during COVID. I mean, that really pacified a lot of my time. And, not worries. I mean, I worried a ton through this whole thing, but it was super interesting, man.
You grateful that it's over, 2020? Oh, behind us, kind of.
Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing I take away from this year was, you know, I've always loved my family. I've always been a huge family guy, but it only, you know, heightened my awareness of how special my family is to me. Being my personal family, work family, and Instagram family. I mean, it's really who I leaned on through this whole process. I know, John, when all this stuff started going down, you and I were chatting, and we're like, dude, are we shutting down? What happens? I mean,
like, what are you doing? Like, what are you telling people on Monday? Remember that?
Yes. We're like, God, I mean, it was bizarre to say the least, but we managed through it. And, you know, I think if anything, you learn from, you know, what you did right, what you did wrong, and just know that expect the unexpected, man. Just when you think you've seen it all, or you prepared for it all, or you know, you got the right documents or processes in place, just know that some greater power out there has other plans for you.
That's so true.
But, you know, we've, gosh, like I said, the family we had, you know, my middle son, Noah, was supposed to be a senior in high school. And, I mean, he was, but I mean, he was home with us. So as selfish as this sounds, I mean, he's an extrovert, got a great group of friends, and was going off to college this past fall. And dude, we got some of the best time together as a family with him that I never would have gotten, and probably never would have, you know, realized how important those times were at the time. Unfortunately, he got to go off to college in the fall. So really, we hunkered down. I mean, we stayed home, sheltered in place. We worked from home, shut offices down, and we're still kind of shut down a little bit. But he was fortunate to get off and go to college this fall. A lot of classes were online, but he was able to go to the campus and, you know, get a small taste of what college should have been. I mean, it's not what it really should have been, but at least he got to get out a little bit. So, you know, it's just making the best of what hand you're dealt.
For the record, nothing against your other kids or my kids, but Noah is going to be a rock star. I don't know if it's going to be real estate or construction or architecture, whatever it is. Absolute rock star.
Well, he's our middle child, and all my boys are special. But he's that middle child. He never settles. He always pushes out of our comfort zone. I mean, like I said, we've hunkered down forever. We snuck down to Florida for a few days after Christmas, and it's only because of Noah. He's like, let's not sit around. Let's go somewhere. And of course, he had grand plans of flying us to someplace tropical. And we're like, we're not ready to fly yet. So we found somewhere we could drive to and just kind of hunker down here. And of course, we came down to Florida, and, you know, there's people everywhere. It's crazy, man. Some, you know, wear masks, others don't. There's a guy today, he's like, man, why are y'all wearing those masks? COVID, you know, COVID doesn't exist, right?
Not the border of Florida,
like,
right?
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, you know, COVID doesn't exist in Florida, you know? So, but man, we came down to Florida, and, you know, one of the things I most love about my job and career and life is being able to travel. And we've drawn so much inspiration from our work, personal life, from our travels. And really, this is, I mean, my first time out since probably February, since KBiz. And right down to the heart of one of my favorite inspiration spots is 30A. And that's the home of Seaside, which, you know, we've always talked about Norton Commons, the same people that planned, the development of Norton Commons, started Seaside, planned that. And Seaside's awesome, but there's a couple places down here. There's one, it's called Rosemary Beach. And it's like, dude, all your worries just go away when you walk through these places. I mean, it's almost magical. It's so peaceful yet inspiring. There's another place called Alice Beach where, dude, it's super cool. Everything is white stucco. It's all called fortified construction. It's all concrete masonry walls, concrete roofs. I mean, it's a 150-acre development kind of on the beach. There's only a few lots that are on the beach, but dude, you go 10 rows back from the beach and lots are still multi-million dollars just for the land. And then you got to build a house onto it. So it's super exclusive, but it's a walkable community. So, you know, today I'm walking through the courtyards and green spaces. And I mean, they invest so much money in these just waterways and fountains. And I mean, they had urns that are the size of, you know, a barn. I mean, it's just amazing, man. Highly recommend you hitting 30A when you guys get a chance.
It's on my list, man. It's when you said, I saw the Seaside sweatshirt. I was like, oh no. And everywhere you go, I'm always like going, I think you're in the, is it Traditional Home magazine?
Yeah. T&D, Traditional Neighborhood Design.
Well, I think you do one of those things where you guys like do a meetup. I forget what organization.
Oh, Southern Living.
Yeah. Southern Living, that's what it is. And you guys do that, and I'm like, can I be involved in that? I remember saying that to my wife. I'm like, I'm in Boston. Am I allowed? Is that Southern enough?
Yeah, so it's the Southern Living Custom Builder Program. There's 100 builders throughout the South, and they're handpicked by Southern Living to represent the brand of Southern Living. And we meet up a couple times a year. We're supposed to go to Kiowa, actually.
Nice.
In February, but they just pulled the plug on that. So it's going to be virtual, which, you know, I think will be a trend for 2021. Probably more virtual stuff, unfortunately. But, you know, we're going to do a virtual event, and we've got a small group within that 100 builders that we might do a small meetup if we'll see how the start of the year starts out. But we thrive off each other. It's like you and I and Nick, we share ideas and share business plans. We just did our business plan review for 2021. And, you know, just when you think you got your shit together, you meet with some of these other guys, and I'm just blown away by how good some of these builders are, what systems they have in place and what staff they have and just how they run their company. It totally inspires me to do better.
That's awesome. I was just looking at the Alice Beach one. It's incredible. And I keep hearing the 30A thing, so and I'm sure I'm not the only one that didn't know, but 30A is actually the highway.
Yeah. So basically, you've got Destin and Panama City in Florida Panhandle, and 30A is kind of it's really a 2-lane highway that speed limit's about 25, and it's probably a 30-mile stretch, I'm guessing, but that's about what it feels like. And there's a highway that you can take, I think it's called 98, that you can bypass 30A, but why would you want to do that? You know, you just go, and there's beach town after beach town after beach town. And even between Alice Beach, there's another one called Watercolor, and there's one called Water Sound. And some of them are gated. Most of the T&D neighborhoods like Seaside, Rosemary, Alice are not gated because they really want to encourage walkability. They all have a central focus of a business district. So, you know, we get up, you go get your coffee, you get your donuts there, you can have dinner there, there's shops there. It's an experience, man. It's so cool.
It's super cool.
You know that gate wouldn't stop us, Jason.
Oh. Well, you know, a lot of these things, you know, have gated access to the beaches and some of these, you know, but Noah and I are pros, man. Gretchen maybe won't follow us into houses, and we just walk in, act like we own the place until somebody asks questions, and then see how long I can lead them on. No, I'll usually be pretty honest with them, and most guys are fairly open to showing you around once they find out you're a builder. It's not like I'm gonna come down here and start building $10 million beach houses on piers on the ocean anytime soon.
Why not?
God, I'll be right beside you.
It's, you come down here and it's like, I always look at all the real estate listings and get all the always go in all the sales centers, get the sales pamphlets, and they're like, this dude's never going to buy anything. Every year it's the same song and dance. I get them and I'm like, oh, I should have bought last year. The lot price is doubled. The house is doubled. I mean, dude, I looked up little lots that are 10 rows off the beach, and they're $1 million for just the lot. And it's mind blowing what beach real estate sells for down here.
I know, it's crazy.
So I'll be going back to Kentucky and working extra hard in 2021. Start saving those nickels for another year, I guess.
So what's the plan? What is the plan in 2021? Anything changing in the business?
Dude, we're super stoked. It was interesting as 2020 kind of came to an end. A lot of our new projects either got delayed. I don't think any of them got canceled. But we had a stretch of probably 4 or 5 months where we really didn't start any new projects. But, we had call after call. I mean, we were getting calls every day for new work or renovation work. And, we tried to take on the work that we felt fit our brand and what we were excited to do. So we've got a handful of great projects that are in the planning stage that will start in first, second quarter of 2021. One of the things I'm really most looking forward to is we're doing a national showcase home with one of the national publications in Louisville. First time they've ever come to Louisville. I don't think there's been any kind of press release or anything about it yet. But the house will be open in June. All depends what happens with the virus. But
good excuse for me to come down.
Yeah. So, dude, we're going to be open from June through December. So we're going to have the show house open for 6 months. Wow. One of your other podcast guys that you guys interviewed early on, Brandon Ingram, did the architecture for this house.
Of course he did.
And awesome. Dude was a stud to work with. And, it's funny when you work with guys that you admire and you think, will I ever get to work with these guys? And if I do, what will it be like? And dude was super chill. I mean, he's like, what do you think, Jason? So,
are you antagonizing me? That's what I would be thinking. I'm like, is this a joke?
No, so he kind of put out his initial concepts and was, totally receptive to feedback. And, unfortunately, he never made it to the site and still hasn't been to the site. So he's relying on me and my team with boots on the ground, giving them feedback and taking advantage of views and sight lines. So, I hope I didn't screw anything up, but I think we've got a pretty solid plan. The house will sit on the bluffs of the Ohio River, and it just has these gorgeous long river views. And it's in this new development that it's crazy, man. We've been we just broke ground on the house, but the subdivision has not even gone to record yet. There's no roads in it. So we're the first house in the development. So we're wading through mud, trying to get to the back of the subdivision and convincing our planning and zoning that this is going to be great for Louisville. So Meg in my office has probably invested 80 hours of her time of getting this daggone permit approved. So we had to do.
That brings up a great point. I need you to send me Meg's roles and responsibilities because I need to find one of them. Like straight up.
Yeah, she's amazing. So, and we're blessed. We got a small team, but a great team. I got a partner, Jimmy. He and I are the owners of Artisan. We've got 2 field guys that are kind of our builders on site. I'm still heavily involved. I know you've been talking a lot about your staff growing this year and into next year. And it's something I've not been able to figure out is how do you delegate the non-day-to-day activities of, I always have to have that client interaction. And it seems like clients always want to talk to the owner, the builder. And, I tried to get away from it and it always backfires. So I've just recently said, you know what, heck with it. I'm just going to stay involved and work closely with my project guys. And, they'll do the day-to-day building, but, key moments, key walkthroughs, or even just a standing bi-weekly meeting with the client, because it seems like anytime that stretch of contact goes further from the client and me, just seems like, not always, but stuff can go wrong. So
it's funny. People say no news is good news. It's like silence is always bad. You're better off having contact.
No doubt. So even if it's just, calling a meeting just to walk the site and just, pick their brain and get their feedback on, because, they're not shy. They're going to tell you they're spending a couple $1,000,000 on their home. So, we want to know, we want them happy. And, we're doing, 7 or 8 projects a year, and we're getting our referrals from our clients and Instagram, of course, and social, but, you got to keep that reputation going. And it's, as soon as you take your eye off the ball, man, it always bites me. So, I've tried it in years past with 4 and 5 superintendents and delegation, and I've not been able to figure out how it works, but I still haven't figured out builder trend either. So maybe you guys can teach me something.
We're getting pretty good at it. But Jason, it's funny you say that. And as I've gotten older, you ever driving somewhere and you're in a rush and then someone's super slow in front of you? I've gotten to the point now, it's like they're slow in front of me for a reason. There's probably a cop up ahead, or there was some sort of a tree that was going to fall, and if I kept going at my pace, it would have hit me. And with this is, I know, but like, by you having to stay in touch with those clients, that might be the limiting factor to keep you at 7 or 8 builds instead of 12, and that's when it could get out of hand. So, like, that's when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, you're one of the factors in how we've kind of grown and stayed lean. But it's also like hearing that is like, all right, you know what? I do want to stay in contact with my clients, so maybe I have to say no more.
Yeah,
so it's.
I think it gives you an opportunity to cherry pick those clients that you want to work for, because, and I admire you. I mean, if you want to build 20 or 30 houses a year and grow a massive company, or whatever your hopes and dreams are, then go for it, man. I've been there in the past, and we've built 20, 25 houses a year, and I was miserable. And again, I didn't have the right systems in place, and probably didn't have the right people in place. But I'd rather do a little bit more, custom tailored, get those clients that let you be a little bit more creative. And that's where I thrive. I mean, I just really enjoy that environment. And the best is when the client just says, you know what, Jason, we chose you because we love your work. We want you to do what you would do, and we trust you. And
that's huge.
You lose that. I think sometimes if you get too big. But again, I don't know, man. I want to see how it goes. So for you guys. So did you get the whole office painted? Is the ceiling all painted? Oh man, God. Look at you.
It's nothing to brag about. It's Nick been like that forever. I did get progress. After our podcast, I got the glass in.
Good. Tara will be happy. Yeah, I did listen to that.
I did it that weekend. I was like, you know what? I listened to it and I was like, I can definitely do that. I trip over him too.
I know. Gretchen, I listened to it on the way down to Florida, so we had 9 hours to kill. So that helped. She had a lot to relate to. That's for sure.
I believe it. I intentionally wasn't involved at all because I wanted to hear it. It was like my own little gift to myself. I wanted to hear her take on certain things that were uncorrupted, and I took a lot out of that,
Yeah.
I actually did. It was good.
So 2021, we've got some other good projects. It's interesting. We're in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's by no means a trend-setting market. It's a very traditional market. But I think the world is so much smaller these days, especially the world of design. So we're getting some clients that want a little bit more modern design. So I'm trying to balance, the modern with the traditional. And, Gretchen, who's my wife, we talk about this all the time. It's like, what do you want to do and who do you admire? And I always admire the Fox Group. That's probably one of the people I look up to the most, because of all the work you do or they do, you can always pick their style. It's always tried and true, super tailored, traditional, and just gorgeous. And not that she digs into me sometimes, but she's like, you do a little bit modern here, a little traditional there, and what do you want to do? And
it's funny, like, do you feel weird having your sign in front of a modern house? like you're artisan, I'm vintage. Like, we did a modern build in Cambridge, and I was like, is this fitting our company brand?
Yeah.
I think you and I talked about this a little bit. I was like, what?
And I think about that sometimes, and I'm like, what do I want to be? But at the end of the day, I like good architecture done well. And I think
clients.
Yeah, oh, sure. Great clients, good architects, good designers, all those things. And I think if the architecture's done well, I'm a fan of the style. And I think we're going to continue to see those styles mix and match. And, it's just, we get into these talks before, but it's just good proportions, good materials, good quality products. And hopefully, I just sold a model home that I think you came through. We built it in 2011, and we'd held on to it. It was the first home in the neighborhood of Norton Commons. And, it was a model for a while. It became a rental, and just switching some things up this year, decided to put it up for sale after some clients moved out. And I mean, I feel like it could have been built last year. I mean,
That's awesome.
It just, I think, withstands the test of time. Other than we did have a slight glaze on the cabinets, which we're not doing much of, but it still looked, it was inset cabinetry. So I think it still fit the part.
Totally. That's awesome. I need to get down there. I need to see you.
We'll wait until the summer. We'll have some fun projects to work on. And I think you mentioned the castle. We've been blessed to build, it's the most period architectural correct home, and the scale is impressive. It's a full stone veneer. It looks like something out of Downton Abbey, or it's just
it's incredible looking.
Yeah, got some Gothic windows, but we've got it'll be uber traditional, all sand and finished hardwood floors with some cool inlaid borders and the moldings. And I mean, I can't wait to get to show some more of that house out. So we're just now getting into the finishing stages. And I say finishing, we just finished drywall, but we're putting hardwoods down, starting trimming tiles. So we probably still have another, year or so to build on this guy. But
Right.
it's a once in a lifetime build for us, and not many people in Louisville will build a house like that. So I'm just fortunate that we get the opportunity to do it. And
That's awesome.
hopefully do it well.
You deserve it, man.
I appreciate that. When the client, when we first met him, he's like, Jason, I want a home that when it's done, it looks like it's been here for 100 years. And I was like, all right, I got it. That's the goal.
All right.
And so when we first started putting the stone up, we finished one of the first walls, and it's this full Indiana limestone, and the client calls it fluffy, but it's not smooth. It's kind of textured. And the client looks over to me and he says, Jason, this house doesn't look 100 years old. I'm like, oh shit. He's like, it looks 200 years old. I'm like, yes.
That's awesome.
So
That's a hell of a build, man.
Yeah, no, it's good. So, we focused on that, and we're going to work on some processes. Maybe you guys can teach me.
It's funny. Everyone's been
Yeah.
talking about processes. This is
Well,
gonna be the year everyone refines them.
Yep.
I think everybody's so busy with all the work coming through that the only way to properly handle it is you got to have a process in place. Or I've seen so many guys take on so much work, and you just can't do it. I mean, we've got a smaller sub base, and they're not as good as they used to be, and it just
They're stretched out a little bit.
yeah. I mean, it takes long. The same house that took me 6 months to build just a few years ago, I mean, it's a year build now, and I'm like, what's changed? And it's a labor pool, but I think a part of it is process. Could I build it in 9 or 10 months if I had better process? Maybe. We try to get the clients to pick out selections prior to starting the build, and we're fairly successful at that. But some people get a little nervous picking out everything before the build starts, so we kind of walk a thin line with that. So if they're gung-ho, we'll get it all picked out. If they start getting nervous, then we'll pick out the key items, and it helps to move the project along to have some of those selections started. But the ones that build faster, all the selections are done. It's no mystery. We did a look back at a bunch of projects, my partner and I, this year, and we found the ones we made the best margin on are the ones that we built the fastest. We collected the change orders, and we priced them right from the get-go. So, but a big portion of that is, I know Nick and John, you guys are both like me. You're yes men. You want to see the client happy. You want to put in the extra bells and whistles, and I truly think you guys choose quality over higher profit margin at the end of the day, which I always have to the good or bad. I don't know. I see some of the builders in my market who build the same house over and over again, rolling up in their brand new Ferraris. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's wrong with this picture? I got a 5-year-old F-150 that I've driven to the job sites, but it's just a different, how you want to approach it. But, all good.
I think about it every day.
It's finding that mix, and at the end of the day, I want to do what makes me happy. And I don't get enjoyment of building houses that look cheap, that,
Right.
have a higher margin. So I'd rather put the details in it, and hopefully I think it truly does attract the people you want to attract will be attracted by that. I get so many of my clients that come to me and say, what, I picked you. I walked through your job sites and I could tell the attention to detail. It was always clean. I could always have steps to get into the house. I never felt like my life was at risk. Some of these houses that I walk through, I mean, it looks like nobody owns a dustpan or a garbage can.
Yeah.
And it, I think if you want guys to do good work, then give them a good place to work in, and they'll treat it with respect and do the best job. We've always had good luck. We don't do a whole lot of sub turnover. Once we get a sub we like in our system, they tend to stay with us, and we keep them happy. They work behind. We've had the same painter for 10 years. He's painted probably 95% of our houses. And, same drywall guy and pretty much same trim guy. So all those guys know each other, and they know they can't slack off because they're going to be coming back and fixing it if it's not right. So I don't know. What about you guys? I'm doing all the talking, man. I want to hear some banter back and forth.
This is just about you.
What else? What else you got for me? Come on. The night is still young. Now that you got me, I got a bed. I got a nap in this afternoon.
Oh, see, this is why you're all fired up.
Yep.
We're 4.5 hours into this, man.
Oh man.
No, I feel like I'm still trying to, not put all my clients first. Like, I think I said in a podcast a while ago, and I always reference you, Jason, but it's like, I've been trying to get my architect to draw my house. And he's like, yeah, it's on the list. It's on the list. And then Like I woke up this week and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tell him I need my drawings done this week.
There's nothing like a deadline. And
well, no, it's like I gave him 3 more clients this week, and I'm like, yeah, we got this one, this one, this. And I'm like, oh my god, so that means my house, which was at the bottom of the list before, just went down 3 more additional rungs. I'm not building it tomorrow, but I'd like to have the prints done, so that way.
You got a lot
least,
yet? You got a lot yet?
I'm gonna renovate this one. I do have a lot that's in mind, but I have to renovate and do this one first. I just I have a 3-year plan.
I like it. Well, I'll tell you one thing that I really took out of 2020 is trying to make some time for myself. I mean, I feel like I'm always making time for others, making time for clients, making time for anybody but myself. And so I'm trying to get a little healthier the last 3 months, you know, first 6 months of COVID. I mean, I got a little out of control. Didn't know when my last meal was coming. So I put on a little extra weight that I've always been a nervous eater.
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
I've been the same where I'm like, I deserve that donut. That client meeting sucked. Double chocolate donut. Bring it. I'll buy it just in case I have a bad day. How's that? Okay. Just in case later I want it.
I always laugh. Gretchen's like, how are you gaining weight? I mean, I cook healthy. I mean, she weighs like 120 pounds. All my kids are fit. And she's like, I never see you eating anything bad. I'm like, well, I'm not going to eat bad in front of you because you're going to ridicule me. I mean, nobody sees me eat that Reese Cup Blizzard through the drive-through after the client yelled at me because their tile's wrong, you know? So
exactly. And then I threw it in the dumpster, so there's no evidence. And my kids wrapped me out, though.
Yeah, no kidding, man. So last 3 months I've got a guy who's helping me. I've been training 3 days a week, and just, I mean, I know what to do. It's just a matter of doing it and trying to find
accountability,
coping mechanisms to not get too derailed and off track. So
that's good. That was something last year I made a big effort, is that I wanted to spend more time for myself, making time, like going, waking up early. I don't turn my phone on until 7:00. It's like that's my time from 5 till 7. I get to eat breakfast. I'll go to the gym, do my thing, and then 7:00 I'll turn the phone on. Well, I shouldn't say turn it on. If someone calls, it's one thing, but like I'm not checking email. I'm not in work mode yet. It's like that's my time, and it's just it's allowed me to have a healthier relationship with work and a far better start to my morning, where it's like you don't wake up, look at your phone, and immediately go into panic mode.
It's so important. It makes you a better husband, better father, and you need it. So I've tried to take my Fridays and really try not to schedule any appointments. Stuff will happen and I will schedule it if need be, but maybe a little extra workout on Friday and just a little Jason time. And sometimes it's either meditation or I started, I'm only 3 sessions in. Somebody recommended going to I don't know if you call him a therapist, a counselor or whatever, just, helping with coping with just stress and making you a better person. But
someone to talk to.
Yeah, it's been good because, we're trying at home to, Gretchen's a designer and we talk a lot about work. So our goal in 2021 is to not so much talk about work at home. So during this whole Corona, we've really taken a liking. We've been doing a lot of baking together, cooking together, just doing stuff that, we used to do. And you just get, you get busy in the rat race, man. And we're going to blink and be empty nesters. So my youngest is 14, so he'll be off to college before we know it. So it's like, all right, what are we going to do with the rest of our lives once kids are gone? So, so much of life is focused on the kiddos. So we're trying to do those things that we both enjoy doing, and it's been good, man. It helps add a little bit of that balance that is, I think, so needed.
That's good, man.
So
That's
true.
awesome.
I gotta have a sip, man. Y'all are getting me dry over here. Gonna start crying, man.
I'm ready for a nap.
I know. So y'all are 4 hours in tonight?
Yeah, we start at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for saving me for last. No, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah,
It worked out great. It was perfect.
No, I mean, I think you've touched on a lot, from 2020, but 2021, and I think you've kind of outlined a lot of things that a lot of people take for granted and don't put enough effort towards, like, themselves, from health and wellness and just stress management. I think this year probably put a lot of people in positions that they were very unfamiliar with. Even just
reacted to it.
Yeah, and it's like not going into the new year or another day or whatever. We don't have to make it about a resolution or anything, but not going into this with a plan to counteract those feelings, I think is just going to set yourself up for failure and increased stress. So to get in front of that, and for you to outline a couple of the things that you're doing, I'm sure will be, enlightening to many, including myself.
Same.
Yeah, I hope so, because, man, nobody's perfect. Nobody's got this perfect life, this perfect system figured out. We're all out here trying to figure it out, man. And if I can help you with something, or you can help me, then let's do it. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways for me from this year is I think at the end of the day, most people's intentions are good, and just surround yourself with those good people, man.
That's good, man. Well, I appreciate you hopping on tonight, even though you took a nap for it.
While on vacation.
Yeah. It was a short nap. So I've been working on my sleep too, honestly. So I know we're
That's
rapping,
huge.
but
That's huge.
Dude, it's the secret weapon is what a lot of these guys are telling me. So I try my darndest to put the phone away from the bed and just once I go to bed, just stay in bed. And I'm a work in progress so far. So we'll see how 2021 treats us, man. So I appreciate you guys, and
appreciate you,
love
man.
what you guys are doing, man. You all killed it this year. You had some phenomenal podcast. I took away so much from listening to you guys. I mean, you all had a string of everybody's phenomenal, but man, you had some couple weeks back to back, and I'm like, damn, Modern Craftsman, man, they're killing it.
Appreciate
it,
dude.
I totally look forward to seeing what you guys are up to in the new year.
Likewise.
Thanks, brother.
Y'all have a good night.
Be safe down there. Happy 2021.
All right, same to you guys. Bye.
We can do it. This is the exit. See you guys next week.